Ani, Menokishka Kredishnikas and Sindochwa, Objeshido Dem, Nishnabe Kwendao. My name is Wendy Lariviere. My Nishnabeg name is Menokishka Kwe, means beautiful day woman. And what I've come to understand is it's taking any day and looking for the good things within that day. I'm the Director of Social Services for my community in Nipissing First Nation. It is 4.5 hours north of Toronto, between North Bay and Sudbury, on the North Shores of Lake Nipissing. And I am here because my son, Mackenzie Zimbabwe Bun, he was diagnosed in 2010 with ALL. He relapsed a couple of times through there, or a few times, bone marrow transplant, CAR T-cell, bone marrow transplant. And then he passed away March 19th of 2022 after a long battle. But I'm here because during his journey, one of the things he said along the way was when we would come across things that were difficult, he said, I want to make sure that nobody else has to go through this. So we need to say something so somebody else wouldn't have to say something if they don't have a voice. And so I'm here because I have that voice. So I'm going to continue to support families where I can. Part of my opening, I don't do land acknowledgements because this is where I'm from. But we say an opening prayer. So I'll read to you in English because you won't understand the language. So thank you, I say today in a good way, good life. Thank you, Mother Earth, for giving us life, for giving us food, for giving us water, for giving us animals, for giving us sacred medicine, and for giving us breath. We lay down tobacco in the north, east, south, and to the west, so we have a strong heart. And thank you to our grandfathers and our grandmothers. We ask the Creator to take care of us always. And part of that teaching talks about these directions. I don't know if anybody's familiar with medicine wheel. That this is my medicine wheel. There are some others like Cree's. I think they have a blue rather than the black color. But part of my teachings that I've been taught is in the east where the sun rises, which is that way because the lake's over there, is where life begins. And then in the west is where, when we walk our path of life, we exit through the western doorway. So what I've been told about this medicine wheel is you'll never learn all the teachings that come out of this within your lifetime. And I know every time I hear teachings in regards to their medicine wheel, I always learn something new and something different because there is so much depth to it. Part of reason why I asked you to sit this way, we can't sit in a circle here because it's not the right room to do that in. But thank you for joining me here and being brave to get from behind the desks. And the reason we sit in circle in my community and in ceremony is because then there's no head of the table. We're all equal together around that circle. Kind of have that here, but it's the shape we're in. So thank you for that. But in regards to this other diagram here, this is more of an academic way of going through the 7 stages of life. But this is actually how our lodge looks inside. And there's actually those fires, those little circles amongst there, are fires along our lodge. And then the eastern doorway is the entrance where you come in, and our western doorway is actually not open. So we don't use that as an entrance and exit because that's where our ancestors exit. And so that's actually a closed doorway, but this is what the lodge looks. So when we start, we have the good life, and that's when our families greet that young child, right, that baby. And part of the what I forgot to say in the last one. So this is in English is a drum. In my language, it's Dewe gun. So Dewe gun doesn't translate to drum. Dewe gun is so my language is very verb based. So nothing is exactly what it is in English. De is your heart and your spirit and that fire that exists at the beginning before you even come into the world. Where is movement, energy, and how sound carries. And that energy of that spirit coming into the world transforms and carries and goes back in the spirit. That where that movement, gun or that it's the circle. It's the circle that we walk in life. It's the circle of our drum. And what's really interesting, what I just actually learned last week, which is why I say I always learn something new. I received this 7 stages of life teaching last week from one of the elders in our community. And when he was talking about this, he said that circle is in everything we do, and it's everything we are. And before we're even born, when we're first conceived, right, we're in a circle. So Dewe gun means so much more than just the drum. So when we travel through the 7 stages, we have our beginning stages, right? That good life where everyone is supposed to come into the world and you receive your name, your family, your clan, and you get those teachings and everyone feasts and is so happy that you're there and a part of that creation. And then the second stage, the fasting life, the fast life, is when the young men, their voices change. The young women have their first moon time and you're coming of age and you're learning. You sit and you fast and you think, and you get those teachings about how to take care of yourself, how to take care of your family, how to take care of your community, your clan. You learn all of those things. And you fast. We fast for those. The next one is geez. Good life, fast life, wandering. When you're in your what, like 18, 20, and you're wondering, what am I going to do with my life? Where am I going? What's happening? But you're seeking purpose. You're not just wandering around. You're really trying to figure out, where am I going to go? And part of those teachings are the lodge, the sweat lodge teaching, and finding those things. The truth life is knowing your purpose. And when I showed you that first diagram of the lodge, truth life is right in the middle. And that's that balance, right? That's that balance we need to carry in life. And when you find your purpose, you find balance. And you're able to then make those goals and start walking forward in life. The next one is the doing life. And that's when all those teachings you picked up along the way, you're able to start actually putting them into action. And then our grounding life or planting life, you start raising your own family and you start being that auntie to those younger generations or being that uncle, and you're starting to create larger family connections. And then our last part of our path of life is the elder life and that teaching life. When you're looking back on that trail, when you started and where you are now, and you're looking back and you're seeing all those future generations coming up behind you and the path you laid down, or the path that you, like when you're walking through snow and you pack down that path for them so they had an easier walk, is what you're hoping. But along that line, so when I go back to my son's journey, and you think, well, he didn't go that far, but he did, because he taught me. I'm standing here today, and he passed along those messages of knowing his truth, of knowing his purpose, even though he was so young. One of the things we used to mention during all of his procedures that he had to do, how many times he fasted. Even though he was fasting for a medical procedure, he was fasting. Right? And he learned that truth and that balance. I'll never forget the moments when he was in hospital for so long, and I'd wheel him out into the air, out of the hospital, and he would just sit there with his face up to the sun, and he'd feel the wind, and he'd breathe in the air, and he knew his truth. He knew that good life, right? And he showed me those teachings of how important it is to capture every moment in life, like my name, finding the good in everything and every day, even when it is sometimes really difficult. And those are the things that he taught me along those ways. So even though he didn't physically get to the end of what we would think is a full life, he had a full life in the moment that he had here. So this other concept or other type of way of looking at the medicine wheel, a lot of people think, oh, the medicine wheel is 4 colors and this is what it is, but it's actually a sphere. And there's a whole other depth to it when you think of it this way, because this is the whole person. When you're thinking about from a medical perspective, right, you're looking at their body. And I know within the oncology or the pediatric world, there's a little bit more depth to it because you are thinking of their family, you're thinking of the well-being of that person and their life. But there are a lot of components that's just about the physical being of that person. But in reality, there's so much more to them. There's their spirit, their heart. That's the thing. And I think that when I was actually thinking about this presentation, I always heard that, oh, kids are so resilient. And then when I think about my life teachings, because they're still part of that, they're still in that good life. That's why they're so resilient. They are still so close to Creator and to that beginning part of their life. They still have that connection. One of the things that I was shared with me in like I said, there's so many parts of this teaching. When a baby first comes into the world, their hands are like this, right? When they're sit there. And I was told it's because they're holding those gifts from the Creator still. And as they start to grow, it's up to us as adults to remind them of those things, those kindness, truth, strength that they carried with them from creation. So as we start to teach our children these things, these are the things that are outside of just them, their family, their clans. I was just sharing, these are my clan colors on here. So it's really important to know these things because these all carry a teaching also, these colors and these ribbons. And then we have our community and our nation, our confederacy, our creation, and all of those things are reciprocal with each other. We also have our future generations and our ancestors that we think about. So when we think of those 7 generations, remembering where we came from, but also what we're leaving behind for those moving forward. And then we also have our spirit world and the earth and the connection we have below us. And one of the things that I really was happy to be a part of at the Calgary CCRC, part of the teachings of the circle, we had time to sit with our elders there, and they were sharing their stories, and they shared about there's one elder in particular shared about energy and how energy, we start with as energy, and we come into this world and we walk as humans in energy form, and then we leave, we become energy, and the energy just transforms. And so thinking of those concepts when we're working with the people, the patients, their families, it's transformation. Always keeping that in mind. So the 7 generations, like I said, thinking about those things. But being able to pull from the trauma, right, that was carried. I think I just noticed the 5-minute mark a while ago, and I know I'm coming close to it now, so now I'm talking. When we had our first diagnosis, my son had his first diagnosis, and I remember the doctor telling me, it's nothing you did, it's nothing your husband did, it just happened. And I know there's nothing I could have done differently, but I also know that trauma carries throughout DNA and throughout generations. And I don't, not to blame anybody what happened in the past, but I know some things impact today and now. And keeping that in mind when you're working with people and how that trauma that we can try and prevent in moving forward is really important. Any questions? That was really quick. This is like a 4-day teaching. Lots of process. One question that someone brought up, and the other one actually I think is important to kind of move forward if some people are thinking this is not just medicine, not just the teachings, but actual medicine. And not smudging and sweetgrass, but actual medicine, traditional medicines. We got to remember to try and find ways with all this research and all these different models of understanding, how do we incorporate those things in patient care? Because it's so important to be inclusive. I talked a little bit about, sorry, talked a little bit about in the last session, how Indigenous people have been over-researched with no reciprocity. And it's really important that that happens moving forward. So that way we can build the trust in providing more information. My grandmother actually helped people a lot. She helped a couple of people that had cancer diagnoses, and then she gave me some medicine and then it was gone. And I've seen other people in my community do the same thing with cervical cancer. And it's pretty wild how the doctors just don't know what happened, but we do. So just trying to understand, I know pediatric cancer is a different realm and you're nervous and scared. So are we.